not going to waste anybody's time. I'm going to get right into it. And yes, there will be spoilers. So if you don't want the movie spoiled, don't listen to this review. And a big thank you, yes, thank you, to the 3 massive super chats that came in on my live stream asking me to go and watch this film and review it. All right, let's go. First things first, this movie is lifeless and boring. Number one, I don't like musicals to begin with, so that was strike number 1. It was way too long. I think it was on an hour and 50 minutes, and they just probably had 1 or 2 extra musical numbers. Gal Gadot's musical number was wow, not in a good way. That wasn't good. Rachel Zegler, yeah, she could sing. Can they act? I'm not sure, man. And the sets were like, it was like a theater production, like you'd go to a theater production, they had some backdrops, and that's where they filmed it. That's what it looked like for the majority of this film. I was bored to death. It was mid. Nothing was to be remembered. The 7 Dwarfs is an insult to CGI, in my humble and professional opinion. My gosh, they were god-awful. And so there you go. There you go. I still predict this movie will do 320. That's really low, but we'll see. Now for the spoilers. Yes, if you don't want spoilers, don't listen. I mean, people should know this film. Anyway, the movie starts off with how Snow White got her name. The king and queen of the kingdom had a beautiful princess in the middle of a blizzard, so they decided to name her Snow White. Yep, they just say it right off the bat. And then, sadly, the mom dies. Doesn't really say how, but whatever. Then the evil queen enters, but she looks normal. She makes the king fall in love with her and decides, hey, we got some fighting going on in the kingdom. You need to get out there. He gets out there, and he's gone. And she takes Snow White and locks her in the castle and makes her do chores. She then gets her magical powers by going to the magic mirror, which looks just like the magic mirror in the movie Shrek, and says, who's the fairest? And she says, you're the fairest, until finally Rachel Zegler comes across, Snow White comes across a bandit, right? A burglar who I guess is supposed to be the prince. His name is Jonathan. He was stealing potatoes, and he gets caught. So the queen was like, all right, let's just get him killed. Snow White's like, please don't do that. Have some mercy. He's hungry. And that's when you see that line where she's like, maybe if we made pies for everybody, I'll go pick some apples. We can make some pies and everybody will be happy. She frees the man before he is executed, and she gets caught. So because of her kindness, the magic mirror now says, you're not the fairest anymore. Now it belongs to Snow White. Well, the queen's not happy about that. So she tells her first in command, take her out to pick some apples, then kill her and put her heart in this box. Well, he takes her out, and she's kind to the guy, and she's like, would you like an apple? And he's like, I can't kill you. I got to get out of here. The queen wants you dead. Run into the forest. Run away. So she runs away. She stumbles across some scary trees. It looks like one of them swallowed her. And she shows up, and the magical animals, which were all CGI, lead her to the 7 Dwarfs' house, where she falls asleep on some of the beds. Then it goes to the dwarfs. They're singing hi-ho. They're in the cave. It's all CGI. And they do this song where they try to introduce themselves, everybody with a different name, which we all know the names. Happy, Bashful, Dopey, Doc, Grumpy. You know the drill. Goes back to the evil queen. She sees the box. Inside the box is an apple. The guy gets thrown in jail. And, Snow White's still alive. So she sends her troops out to the forest to go find Snow White and kill her, or bring her back to the castle. I think kill her. Meantime, 7 dwarfs come home. I keep saying Rachel Zegler. Snow White wakes up, and she has a moment with Dopey, right? Dopey's scared, and they have a moment where she's kind to Dopey. She's kind to the rest of the drawers. Drawers, listen to me. The 7 dwarfs. And they break out in the song Whistle While You Work. Well, the reason why Whistle While You Work came about because Dopey was getting made fun of, and he goes outside and he's crying because nobody likes him. And she goes, Dopey, why don't you talk? Are you scared? And Dopey's shakes his head yes. She goes, well, if you don't know how to talk, then why don't you just whistle? All right? I'll teach you how to whistle. So they whistle, they go inside, they whistle while they work, and they clean up. All right, cool. That's the end of it. Anyway, Snow White ends up wandering around, and the bandits are there. So she's like, hey, what's going on here? Who are you guys? Looking for you because you said you served my father. Is my father still alive? And the bandits were like, I don't know. This guy, Jonathan. They break out into multiple songs throughout this whole thing. Some of them were not needed, in my humble opinion. So then while they're there, the knights show up. A fight breaks out. Snow White does some things with some magical animals, and the knights run away. But then there's one guy with a crossbow who has Snow White, getting ready to shoot her, and Jonathan steps in front of her, and he takes a dart, and he falls. They take her back to the seven dwarfs' house, and the dwarves bring him back to life, and they break out into another song where it looks like Jonathan and Snow White are falling in love. They almost kissed, and there you go. Well, this time the evil queen, she's like, well, now that I know where she's at, I got to do something about it. Well, Jonathan makes his way to try to figure out some stuff and gets caught and goes to the evil queen, got her locket, Snow White's locket, because she gave it to him. She just met him, It's like, this is my family locket. You could have it. So now the evil queen knows where she's at. So she turns into the old woman, poisons the apple, and makes her way to the seven dwarfs' house. While Snow White is waiting for Jonathan to return, probably with information about her father, the old woman's like, hey, Jonathan got captured. Here's your locket. Just to prove to you I know what you're talking about. And I love you, Snow White. We miss you as the princess. So all I have is I'm a poor old woman. Here's an apple. And thank you for will you take a bite of it? It'll be the world to me. Snow White takes a bite, falls asleep. And while she's getting ready to fall asleep, the evil queen comes out of her oldness and says, about your father, I had him killed, and now you're dead too. She goes back to the castle. Magic Mirror's like, yeah, you're the fairest now. And Snow White's laid out on some rock. In the meantime, Jonathan's locked up, who's, I guess, supposed to be Prince Charming, but he's not really a prince. He's a thief. He figures out a way to break the chains, runs back, sees Snow White laying there on the rocks. And everybody's sad. Grumpy's crying, it was a whole thing. Dwarves look freaking weird. And Jonathan kisses her on the lips. Yep, that's right. It's in there. Snow White wakes up and was like, oh, and they kiss again. And she's like, I got to have courage. I got to take my kingdom back. So everyone's a little nervous. They're like, what are we going to do? Like, the evil queen's gonna kill you if you go back. Then the magical speech from Dopey. That's right. Dopey speaks. Dopey says, let her try. And everybody's shocked. And all that Dopey said something. They gather everyone together and they head over to the kingdom where she's wearing her red riding hood cape and everything. Heads back to the kingdom. And immediately the queen meets her outside with all his guards. And she's just like, hey, you want to kill me? Go ahead and kill me. Here's a dagger. Go ahead. I dare you. Snow White refuses to kill the evil queen. And then she says, grab Snow White and kill her in front of everybody to set an example so I can get back to ruling the kingdom. Well, before Snow White gets killed by some of the guards, she looks at the guards and goes, Phil, is that you? You used to be a farmer. You were raising kids out on the farm. You used to grow cherries and you helped people with cherries. Billy, I know you used to be a baker and you made bread for people that were hungry. And she just names off names of all the guards and calls them by their real name and tells them like what kind of peasant job that they had and how they're good people. And they all were like, yeah, that's who I used to be and I want to be that again. I'm not going to kill Snow White. So the evil queen gets mad and Snow White looks at her and says, just leave, evil queen. We're going to take back our kingdom. Evil queen runs up to the castle, goes to the magic mirror and says, Magic Mirror, please tell me who the fairest is. He goes, it ain't you. It's Snow White. Sorry. She gets so mad she punches and breaks the magic mirror. And when the magic mirror opens up and breaks and shatters, the evil queen turns to dust and gets sucked back in the mirror and it gets put back. And I don't know if it's magic anymore, but that's the end of it. And then the next thing is a musical number where everyone's wearing white and they're singing and dancing in the kingdom, that the kingdom's been restored. And that's the end of the film. That's it. That's literally the movie that took 1 hour and 60 minutes, almost 2 hours. It was a long time. There was a lot of musical numbers. And the only time, now my theater was about half full. The only time the theater laughed was a joke from the guy who was supposed to be the prince, but he's not a prince. His name is Jonathan. He introduced himself. He goes, "I'm Jonathan, princess." Wait, my name's not princess. It's just Jonathan, princess. And he kept saying that, making it seem like his name is Jonathan, princess, but it wasn't. And some of the people had a chuckle. After that, that was about it. Again, a lot of musical numbers. There was more musical numbers than there was actual dialogue from what I remember. And that's about it. There wasn't anything memorable. You could see that it just looked like it was filmed like on a stage. You know, the CGI drawers were terrible. I think I said that already. And everything else was just CGI. But every time they said like a few words, they just broke out into song. And that was the movie. Anyway, that was the movie. If you saw the film, let me know what you thought in the comment section below. Again, I'm not a guy that likes musicals, so maybe I'm not the right person to get a review from. This movie will be forgotten. That's what I think. It doesn't have that lasting where you want to go back and sing the songs again from Disney classics of old. And, you know, that's it. Anyway, I'm done. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please do not super chat me to go see other films I do not want to see, because my goodness, man, my goodness, I could have been making pirate videos or something. Anyway, that's it. This is Jay. I'll catch you next time.